Welcome to another edition of the Muscle News in collaboration with evolutionofbodybuilding.net. In today's episode, we will talk about Bob Cicherillo's reaction to Arnold Schwarzenegger criticizing Bob indirectly during the 2025 Arnold Sunday Showcase after the Arnold Classic ended. During his seminar, Arnold did not waste any time to call out the previous MC, who in fact was Bob Cicherillo. Arnold was talking about how short and organized the event was compared to previous years, pointing his finger at Bob Cicherillo and praising the new MC, David Bay. Bob did not waste any time to respond to Arnold Schwarzenegger, something nobody would dare to do in the bodybuilding world, but Arnold tarnished Bob's name and was given the wrong information. Bob had every right to call out Arnold on his incorrect comments. According to inside sources, at the time of publishing the article on evolutionofbodybuilding.net, days before the 2025 Arnold Classic started, allegedly Bob Cicherillo did not want his name or voice to be associated with this event after it was allegedly so badly run and with several people being very incompetent in 2024 when he emceed the Arnold Classic USA and UK. Bob confirmed all this on the latest edition of the Voice of Bodybuilding podcast. To not mix up any words, next up, you can listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger speak during the Arnold Sunday Showcase and immediately afterwards, listen to Bob Cicherillo explaining everything in detail and why he decided not to MC the 2025 Arnold Classic.
And the other thing that I liked about the competition was the way you moved forward. I mean, there was not one single second this was a lag time. Because I always, for years and years and years, I always was complaining the day after the competition. I said, if you edit this show down, you can edit it down to an hour and a half, 2 hours. Why are we sitting there for 3.5 hours? Because of stupid talking with the MC. I said, they make up dialogue. And then all of a sudden now we have an MC that doesn't do that. We go right into it. We see right away the most muscular man in the world on stage, and bang, we go into it, and we go through the whole thing. And then the guys get introduced. The guys, you know the name, you know their history, where they're coming from, end of story. I don't want to hear more. Don't give me no drama. Don't give he gave this, and then yesterday did this, and 2 days ago he did it. Fuck, this is all bullshit, okay? Just let me, because I believe there's a reason why movies are 2 hours, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, sometimes 2 hours and 15 minutes, or if you see a Jim Cameron movie, sometimes 2.5 hours, or 3. But I mean, there's a reason why they're limited and not 4 hours. Because people don't have the patience to sit there 4 hours, no matter how good it is. And I don't want to see a bodybuilding show that is longer. At 9:30, it has to be over. If you start at 7, at 9:30, it has to be over. End of story. That's what I demand every single year. Sometimes we go a little bit over, but that is the goal, not 3.5 hours. It's all bogus, and we don't need to do it.
Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, Bob Schick back with another edition of the Voice of Bodybuilding. My co-host Sean Ray will be joining me in just a few minutes, but there are a few things that I wanted to address before we get to this week's topics. Most notably, the Arnold Classic just passed this last weekend, and it was big and bold, and my Panada team was there in full force. First time that we were there at the Arnold in America, and of course we delivered the best equipment in the world, always with Panada, so big shout out to my team, and what a great job they continue to do. That said, the topic of the weekend, of course, was, Bob, why aren't you emceeing? Why didn't we see you on stage? And I've got some answers for that, which I wanted to address fully when I had an opportunity. So I'm going to take you back to last year. I did last year's Arnold and Arnold UK, which are only a week or two apart. And to be quite frank, and I'm just going to kind of get to the topic at hand without mincing words, the production in Ohio last year and in the UK were so poorly put together. The team so incompetent, the producer of the Arnold also incompetent, that it was just a complete shit show when it came to production. And I pride myself on my work, of course, on stage. Everybody knows Been doing the Olympia for many years. I've done pretty much every show on this earth for many, many years now. And a lot of that, you are subject to your production team. Yes, I can do a lot of stuff on stage. I can only do the best I can do. Without a good team behind you, it's very difficult to do anything on stage. And that's from the backstage expediters to the actual producer, the sound guy, the director, if you have one, all of that. When I tell you the level of incompetence, I'm not mincing words when I say this was probably the worst produced show I've ever been a part of. And for those that were there, you could see that quite plainly. And I tell you who else could see it was Arnold, because he was sitting in the front row, and I can tell just by the look on his face, he was not liking what he was seeing. And what I'm saying by that is there was huge gaps in time. Stage time is different than real time. Silence is death on stage. Anybody who's been part of any kind of production can tell you that. Despite repeated attempts to try to get production meetings throughout the year, they didn't seem interested in any ideas. No production meetings were had at any point before we got actually on stage. We went through one read through. It was all over the place, and I warned them at that time. I says, this is not going to work. What they wanted to do was they wanted to go from whatever I was doing at that time, introducing a class. Let's just say we finished the figure class. Oh, no, we can't do figure. They're not there. The bikini class. And then we're going to go to commercial. I says, great. So we go to commercial. Are we showing the commercial on the screen live? No. Okay, so I have to fill that time in. I says, okay, when we come out of the commercial, let's just say that's a minute. Do we now come back to me? No. I says, well, what are we doing? So we're going to go from the commercial to the commentators backstage, and they're going to talk. We're going to kind of see what they're talking about. Okay, well, how long is that going to be? Could be 2-3 minutes. All right, hang on. So you're talking about 4 minutes of dead time. Are we showing the commentators on the big screen? No. So what would you like me to do for 4 minutes on stage, which for anybody, again, dealing in production knows, it might as well be 40 minutes. It's huge. You can't eat that. I eat commercial time all the time. For those who don't know, if you've ever attended an Olympia in the last 20 years that I've been a part of it, there are 6 commercial spots, believe it or not, throughout the night. Now, we don't show those on the big screen for various reasons. It's got to do with production and what the pay-per-view audience is seeing and the sponsors, whole different thing. But the bottom line is I have to eat 6 commercial spots throughout the night at the Olympia. We do it smooth, transitions. Nobody even knows that we're showing commercials while I'm out there doing my thing. I tried to explain this to the production team. They just quite frankly didn't get it. It's a different production team every single year at the Arnold. That's one of the problems. So fast forward to the first commercial break, and I kind of explained to the audience what's going on. We're going to go to commercial, but you're not going to see it. It's going to be dead, basically. It's going to be what we call going dark on stage. I could see Arnold in the front row, and I could see he wasn't very happy, and I could almost read his lips asking, what the hell is going on? Is there a problem? And just then I saw the producer kind of waddle his way over there and duck down. I could hear them, not hear him, but I could see him talking back and forth. That's when the producer decided to come over and basically give me an earful on stage as if there was something I could do about it. And which I shot back, this is your production. This is exactly what you guys scripted. And now you're getting exactly what I warned you would happen. So, make a long story short, I was not pleased with the production. Clearly, Arnold wasn't pleased with the production because he knows better. But this is all the fault of the producer and their team. I go out there and I can do what I can do. But, again, you're always subject to the best team that you have around you to make it smooth and flawless. Unfortunately, we went to the UK just 2 weeks later. That was just as bad and just as incompetent. It was at that point that I did talk to the producer there, and I did inform them that this was not up to my standards, and I wouldn't be back. They needed to basically find somebody else. You could find me on the Olympia stage in Las Vegas, and that was it. So at no point did we actually discuss me coming back. I didn't leave that up to their decision. It was my decision, and a decision that I fully back up on myself. What I'm not going to do is be subject to the comments. And I know Arnold made some comments at the Sunday seminar, which I take a little bit of an exception to, but I do understand. I don't hold Arnold accountable in this case because he's only told what he's told from the producer and his people, who, of course, are trying to save their ass because they messed up big time. We could roll that clip right now. So here's Arnold at the seminar talking about the show.
For years and years and years, I always was complaining the day after the competition. I said, if you edit this show down, you can edit it down to an hour and a half, 2 hours. Why are we sitting there for 3.5 hours? Because of stupid talking with the MC. I said, they make up dialogue. And then all of a sudden now we have an MC that doesn't do that. We go right into it. We see right away the most muscular man in the world on stage, and bang, we go into it, and we go through the whole thing.
All right. So as you can see, not a lot to unpack there. Arnold clearly states that the last MC, or the MC, or I assume he's talking about me, since I was the last guy, talks too much. Now that's not, for anybody that's seen any shows, you just don't get to ramble up there. We have a script and we have a show flow that we go through. One thing I've never been accused of is slowing down a show anytime soon. I've sped a whole bunch up, but certainly haven't slowed anything down. But he gives credit to the new MC, David Bate, who's a very good friend of mine, and he did a great job. I congratulate David. That said, what they did was they cut out the commercials and they cut out going to the back. So, of course, it flowed a little bit smoother. That's the way it should have been the first time around. What I take exception to is that this was a problem. Then he goes on to say about how shows used to be 3.5 hours. We need to streamline these. Let me just point to that, okay? Yes, they used to be much longer. They were much longer when you had every division. Now you have half of the divisions. They were much longer when you had the balancing act, as some halftime entertainment from Vegas. You had a 3.5 hour show when you had Jan Tana, and they used to paint the girls up, and they had 20 of them out there parading these outfits and stuff like that. There was a lot longer when you had the strongman event that was at the night show. So these are all things that you decided to put in your show. Ultimately, Arnold, you're the producer of your own show. You are the promoter. You decide what goes on that stage and how long it is. Now, you have streamlined a little bit because we no longer have strongmen on the final stage. You don't have the balancing guys, which I used to like, by the way. But again, everything takes time on stage. The painting, the painted girls thing, that's gone. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, you can look that up. They used to do this thing on stage. This would take up there's probably an hour and a half or almost 2 hours worth of just other stuff going on stage. So I appreciate you want to streamline your show. The other thing that Arnold talked about was men's physique, that he wasn't particularly fond of the shorts. He doesn't get it. Next thing, they'll be wearing pajamas. He made some comments about that. You can streamline your show another half hour to 45 minutes. Don't have men's physique. If you're not a big fan of it, again, you're the producer and the promoter of your own show. You signed the sanction fee, and you decide what to have, just like you decided you didn't want women's physique, women's bodybuilding, women's figure, the 212. Those have all been cut from your show. If you don't like men's physique, cut it. But in defense of the Pro League, men's physique is the most popular division that we have on the men's side. The most popular. Women's side, it's bikini. There's a reason it's popular, okay? It's a certain look. That's why they wear the board shorts, and that has evolved. If you look 10 years ago to today, the board shorts are much different. They're much more form-fitting. They've gotten much smaller. They show the overall shape of the leg, but it is indeed a certain look, okay? It's a beach-style physique look. Now, you have an option and a choice as an athlete. This is why we have different divisions. If you don't like the board shorts, if you don't like the posing or the lack of actual muscular posing, like a bodybuilder, you have the option to go in the 212. You can go in classic physique, or you can go in the men's open. That's why we have these divisions. But make no mistake, nobody's got a gun to Arnold's head, forcing him to put on men's physique. So I would implore that if you don't like what you see, simply don't have it. So anyway, I hope that clears up any confusion anybody had as to why I wasn't on the stage at the Arnold. You will see me again, once again, at the Olympia stage in my usual post in my 22nd year. And I look forward to that. I look forward to a great production team who is well prepared, very competent, and we do it like nobody else. Other speculation that, of course,